guys, it's Jen from over at worldofjencraft.com, and this is our project for today. So, I made this before I left for on stage, but I just didn't have time to create the video, so I thought I'd go ahead and throw it out there today. This is a sketch that my second upline, Angie Judah came up with. It's called the Paper and Ink Sketches. So I will have the sketch that I followed to this card over on my blog if you're interested in checking it out. So I love the stamp set A Good Day, and this was one of the images I had not used yet. So I thought I'd go ahead and use it. Isn't that just adorable? All right, let's get to the supplies and I will show you how I put it together. So I used the Tutti Frutti adhesive back sequins. These are retiring, so if you like them, make sure to get your hands on them before they are no longer available. The Baker's Twine Black stamp set was A Good Day. Aren't those images just the sweetest? I really do love this set. The layering circles and the stitched shapes framelets. I'm kind of coming out of my, I think my camera's up a little bit here. Memento ink for my stamping. The Berry Burst for my sentiment. And I used the Stampin' Write markers on this particular card to color it in because they have this really fine tip, which is, I'm guessing, either meant to color in really small images or also to write with, since they're called Stampin' Write markers. I just found that this was a lot easier to color with by using these markers. I also used the banner triple punch and a touch of Wink of Stella. So for the cardstock, you are going to need, if you wish to recreate this card, which it would make my heart so happy if you did, if you liked it enough. Berry Burst is 4 1/4 by 11, Basic Black 4 by 5 1/4, and a 2 1/4 inch scallop circle. Whisper White is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and a 1 7/8 stitched circle, but of course you don't have to use the stitched circle if you don't have the stitched dies. Lemon Lime Twist is a 2 1/8 inch circle. And then the DSP that I used is from the Picture Perfect, which is also on the retiring list. So if you like this, you might want to get your hands on it before it is no longer available, as what it is available while supplies last. This is 2 by 3 1/2, 1 1/2 by 4 1/2, and a 1 by 3 1/4. So I think the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and stamp out our image. That way it gives it a minute to dry before we start to color on it. This you're going to want to stamp a little bit towards the top so you can fit your sentiment on there. So we'll just go with that. And our sentiment, before I forget, is the Berry Burst. And that is, got some thread or something on here. So that's just going to get inked up very carefully and stamped down. Wonderful! So let's put this aside for a minute. Close up my ink pad so I don't get anything on it, because I have been known to do that, which is what happened here. I don't know if you see that little black mark there. This was actually because I did not clean off my stamp and my card fell onto it. Thank goodness it was after I had taken my picture. Okay, so I'll keep that in there, and while that's drying, let's grab out our punch and punch the banners. Now I have shown you ways that you can also cut the banners if you don't have the punch, by just grabbing out your trimmer and lining it up to center. So if you were doing this one, you would just line it up with the 1 inch mark here and just take your trimmer blade and move it up and then cut with your scissors to create that. This does make it a lot easier to do if you have one of these, I will have to admit. So I'm just putting it up in here, and then I'm just bringing it back down to where I can barely see those edges and then punching. And this one, Yes, that's the edge that I want. So I hope you guys can see that. And then this kind of ends up getting stuck in there a little bit. So I just push it up and pull it back down so my edges are even. And punch. So let's go ahead and I'm going to adhere the Whisper White to the basic black. And if you see me feeling the edges of my paper, the paper trimmer, I think a lot of them do, leave that like little lip. And so what I like to do is make sure that that lip is actually on the back side of my paper. Some people that doesn't bother. And I suppose when you're giving it to someone, they're not really going to notice, but I always make sure that mine is on the back just because I'm kind of, I don't know, weird like that, I guess. So I'm trying to think of how I did this. This is going to, I think I'm going to stick this onto this banner. So let me get some adhesive on here. And I'm just going to line up the tops of this, leaving maybe about probably 1/8 of an inch or so from the edge. So like that. And then I'll go ahead and put more adhesive on that, which by the way, the fast fuse is retiring if you did not already know that. So if you like it, you might want to get your hands on, I believe they have the refills left. Which is totally what I am doing. So I'm just going to line this up at the very top of my Whisper White, coming at about, I don't know, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch over to the side. So hopefully that's, see the angle that I'm at, it looked like it was lined up. I'm going to bring this down, and I moved my camera angle, so I'm thinking I might need to move it again because I feel like I'm coming off screen. And then we'll put just adhesive up here at the top. And I did not put any adhesive down here on these banners. I kind of just let them free flow. I liked that. So then this one I'm just going to bring up here to the top, and it's going to come, yeah, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so over from the edge of the Lemon Lime Twist banner. So there's that. And I'm going to throw some adhesive on the back and grab out our baker's twine, and I just wrapped it around a couple times towards the top, so maybe about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch around from the top. So let's see if I can get this started here and wrap it around. So I'm just going to make sure that my adhesive on the back here is grabbing it, and then I want to come down just a little bit from where I was, like that. And then make sure that that's stuck on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and come back over it with my adhesive again, just to make sure that it's stuck down. That way, when you stick it down to your card base, it doesn't want to pop up because you have that adhesive on your twine there. So that looks good. Let's get this put on. Ooh, I'm really far up on my table space. I didn't realize that. So centered. I love, you know, I was one of those that it takes me a while sometimes to appreciate a paper pack or kind of fall in love. Sometimes I have to wait and see what it looks like, what other people do with it, because I was not a huge fan of this paper pack, but I decided to go ahead and buy it and kind of play around with it, and now I'm regretting not buying it sooner. I really love these colors, and I like the different patterns on here. Some of the reverse side of this paper I wasn't a huge fan of because some of the images I felt were just kind of too big for my liking. But yeah, so I'm really liking these, and I just love those bright colors, the Peekaboo Peach and the Berry Burst and Lemon Lime Twist together. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw all of these circles layered up. And let's go ahead and color this. So I colored in the, I think I might go ahead and fast forward this because coloring all of these little teeny tiny leaves does take a little bit of time, I'm not gonna lie. But I colored in the tree itself with my crumb cake. My leaves got colored in with the lemon lime twist. My flower was berry burst with a center of the peekaboo peach. And I did not use this, so I'm going to set that aside. I don't know why it was here. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and start coloring, and I'll just fast forward while I color. Alright, I did manage to get that all colored in without putting my glasses on. The images are so tiny, and when they get super little like that, my eyes kind of start to go cross-eyed as I'm trying to look at them. So I just went ahead and just brushed on my Wink of Stella onto each of these little leaves. Just give it an extra pop. The other thing that you could do with these leaves too, if you wanted to, is bring in another color, like maybe an old olive or a darker green, just to kind of give maybe a little more dimension or variation in the leaves. But I decided to keep it simple and just color them all in with the lemon lime twist. And then I did go ahead and put some Wink of Stella onto my little flower. And that is that. And I popped this up using our Stampin' Dimensionals. So I have to tell you quick while I'm doing this, the other day, I think it was yesterday actually, I was upstairs, and for those of you who kind of follow me, you know, well, maybe not the layout of my house, but so I have my craft spaces in my basement, and then I have it's like a walk-in ranchy kind of looking house, but it's older, so it has a finished dormer or finished attic upstairs. And I saw one of these little papers to my Stampin' Dimensionals on the fur of my dog all the way upstairs in the dormer. I almost took a picture of it, but then he laid down and it fell off. So I kind of got a big chuckle out of that it would travel all the way upstairs on his fur, because he comes down here with me and he sits underneath of my desk while I craft. And occasionally I allow him to come while I'm recording, but that doesn't always work out. He can be behaved for a while, but if he hears anything, he starts to bark in, and that doesn't go well with the video. So I'm going to go ahead and stick our little sequiny things on here. I love these bright and cheery colors. This card just made me so happy when I finished it. I was just like, oh, it just makes me smile. So I'll grab out just a little bit of the twine, and we're just going to make a tiny bow up here. And I kind of put it towards the center of this little banner. And hopefully the baker's twine will cooperate with me today. Sometimes it doesn't like to, and it has a mind of its own. But let's see if I can actually make it look somewhat decent here. Let's see if I can pull this down. There. I think we'll just leave it like that. Maybe I'll keep my bow about that size there. And I guess I cut off a little bit too much, huh? Or, yeah. There. I might have this one kind of dangling down a little bit more than I did my original one. So that's it, guys. This is our card. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. Didn't that turn out really sweet? It's just so happy. Again, if you would like to see the sketch that I followed, And I will have printable, downloadable dimensions and a supply list if you are interested over on my website, worldofjencraft.com. So I'll check you on my next tutorial. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. Bye.